President Trump meets with French President Emmanuel Macron to talk about Russia's war on Ukraine, the message from European allies. And lawmakers are pushing a pair of bills that could reshape Arkansas's alcohol industry. Details ahead.
Covering news where you live, 5 News starts with breaking news.
Breaking in the last hour, a Cave Springs doctor facing sexual assault charges will avoid trial in Benton County. 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi is live at the courthouse. And Jacob, this comes after Dr. Adam Maass reached a deal with prosecutors.
Yeah, Lauren, Cave Springs doctor Adam Maass agreed to relinquish his medical license by April 30th of this year in exchange of a no pros of the charges, which is essentially a dismissal of those 3 sexual assault charges that he was facing here in Benton County. Now, prosecuting attorney Brian Sexton says that as long as Maass goes along with the agreements that were set forth in that exchange for the no pros, he says that then this case is pretty much dismissed. Now, when asked by the judge, Maass did agree to these terms, and this all stems back from 2022 when a complaint was filed where a former patient of Maass accused him of sexual assault from the year prior in 2021. Now, I asked prosecuting attorney Brian Sexton for a statement, and he says that, you know, they have to be very careful with their wording as to why this case was dismissed, because Maass faces 2 other sexual assault charges in Washington County. We're hoping to hear more from prosecuting attorney Brian Sexton later today. But again, he wants to be careful because he does not want to jeopardize Washington County's case against Adam Maass. Maass is expected in court in Washington County next week. And of course, we will be here covering it all. But those are the latest developments here in Benton County. I'll go ahead and send it back to you.
Thanks, Jacob. Today marks 3 years since Russia invaded Ukraine, setting off a deadly and costly war. European and world leaders are showing support in Ukraine's capital today, while U.S. policies on Russia and Ukraine have changed under President Trump.
Demonstrations around the United States this weekend, and a moment of silence today of EU ministers marks 3 years since Russia invaded Ukraine. Many European and world leaders are in Kyiv for a summit and a show of support.
We must do everything in our power to enable Ukraine to secure a just and lasting peace.
It is not only the destiny of Ukraine that is at stake, it is Europe's destiny that is at stake.
President Trump is at the White House meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron to talk about ending the war.
The president's meeting with his French counterpart today and the British Prime Minister later this week come as European allies worry that negotiations between the U.S. and Russia could result in a less favorable outcome for Ukraine.
We left a lot of it.
Speaking at the Conservative Political Action Conference this weekend, President Trump said he believes he can negotiate an end to fighting, but is also pressing Ukraine for U.S. access to rare earth minerals.
I want them to give us something for all of the money that we put up, and I'm going to try and get the war settled, and I'm going to try and get all that death ended. So we're asking for rare earth and oil, anything we can get.
During a public feud with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, Trump last week placed blame on Ukraine for the prolonged war.
What the president has done is reframe the war in a way that's just not true, and I think it's evidence that Vladimir Putin is playing him.
H.R. McMaster served as a national security advisor during President Trump's first term.
Those were all the Kremlin's talking points that you heard him roll out.
Over the weekend, Russia launched a record number of drones into Ukraine, destroying infrastructure and killing at least 3 people. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
All right, really nice out there heading into this afternoon, seeing lots of sunshine. We all are mixing in some of that cloud coverage out there as well. Daytime highs today eventually going to reach up into those 60s. We take a look across the area. You see lots of sunshine from Fort Smith to Bentonville, Fayetteville, down to Ozark as well, but it's mixing in just a few clouds here and there. Overall, daytime highs today already getting close to that 60-degree mark. Current temperatures out there right now, 61 in Fayetteville, 58 there in Bentonville, 60 in Fort Smith, 61 there in Poto. Still going to get a few degrees warmer here and there, but overall, it is going to be a really nice start to the week. Northwest Arkansas, the rest of this evening, temperatures staying into those upper 40s and low 50s by the time we get past sunset tonight. Across the River Valley, plenty of sunshine. Those daytime highs eventually reaching up into the upper 60s. We'll talk about some 70s for tomorrow coming up in
Thanks, Stephen. Federal workers have a midnight deadline tonight to list 5 things they accomplished last week, or else they're out of a job. That's according to President Trump's special assistant, Elon Musk. But there has been some pushback from inside the Trump administration, with a number of departments telling their workers not to respond.
Elon is doing a great job.
After Elon Musk warned it was coming, an email went out to millions of federal workers, directing them to list 5 bullets of what you accomplished last week by midnight tonight. On his social media platform, X, Musk threatened that failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. The ultimatum coming just hours after President Trump urged Musk to get more aggressive as he works to fire thousands of government employees.
We're removing all of the unnecessary, incompetent, and corrupt bureaucrats from the federal workforce.
But even some of the president's allies are taking issue with the approach.
If I could say one thing to Elon Musk, it's like, please put a dose of compassion in this. These are real people. These are real lives.
And while a few agencies urged workers to comply with the email, the FBI, led by Kash Patel, told agents to pause on responding. So did the State Department, led by Marco Rubio, telling staffers that no employee is obligated to report their activities outside of their department chain of command. The Pentagon also opted out just days after the president made major personnel moves there. He fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, C.Q. Brown, and the chief of the U.S. Navy, whom Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth once derided as inexperienced and suggested she was only promoted because she is a woman.
The president deserves to pick his key national security and military advisory team.
Democratic Senator Jack Reed slammed the moves.
It's the beginning of a very, very serious degradation of the military and politicization of the military.
Trump intends to nominate retired Air Force Lieutenant General Dan Raisin Kane to replace General C.Q. Brown. He'd be the first 3-star general to be named as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. Nancy Cordes, CBS News, the White House.
In another move last night, President Trump announced that conservative podcaster and former Secret Service agent Dan Bongino will serve as deputy director of the FBI under Kash Patel. The second in command at the agency is traditionally a career agent, but Bongino lacks any FBI experience. Like Patel, however, he has been a fierce defender of the president. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders has signed several bills into law this month, including the Blue Envelope Bill, which is designed to assist drivers with autism during police encounters. The new bill allows individuals on the autism spectrum to communicate their diagnosis to law enforcement during police encounters. The envelope contains standard language explaining the diagnosis, which can help de-escalate situations and prevent misunderstandings.
When you're on the autism spectrum, which I am, you can get really overwhelmed and forget things. You could start flapping your arms, which, if it's someone else who may not be on the spectrum, cops may misread or misunderstand. And then we take things very black and white sometimes.
Arkansas is the 7th state to implement the law and the first in the South. The envelope will be free and available at revenue offices across the state. Lawmakers are also pushing a pair of bills that could reshape Arkansas's alcohol industry, now headed for the governor's desk. It would allow people or corporations that own 1 liquor permit to buy up to 3, and is sponsored by Senator Bart Hester. Some local liquor store owners worry the bill could hurt their business and help retailers like Walmart. The store's director of public affairs says those fears are misplaced.
Limits it to 1 per county, which still encourages competition. A company or a person can't own 3 liquor stores in 1 city. So it's 1 liquor store, 1 city, 1 county. So you still have strong competition among all of the liquor store owners.
The bill would allow grocery and convenience stores to deliver alcohol to wet counties. It would also allow third-party companies like DoorDash to deliver in the same way.
If you're a minimum wage employee just running around in a van making deliveries and nobody's coming to the door, are you going to go make your next delivery? Amazon wants you to keep a schedule. Are you going to wait there for 10, 15 minutes for them to come answer the door to check their ID?
The bills have made it through the House and Senate, but there has not been a decision on when they could be signed. Lawmakers are also pushing to regulate short-term rentals in the state like Airbnbs. The bill aims to establish more state-level oversight rather than leaving it up to local governments. Some lawmakers say the bill is necessary to protect property rights and dismantle overly restricted regulations cities and counties have in place. But not everyone agrees, including North Little Rock Mayor Terry Hartwick.
We're not against STRs. We're just trying to say there should be so many in this neighborhood, and to have it where you can have 6 or 7 that disrupts the whole neighborhood. And that's what it's about, just letting us keep in control of the area that we're responsible for.
This strengthens by creating guidelines for local control. What it takes away are arbitrary or seemingly, as the winds blow, regulations on them.
Mayor Hartwick says he's spoken to other mayors in the area who are against the bill. The proposal is expected to be heard on the House floor in the next few weeks.